Data can be very easily misleading if you don't have full context or a really deep understanding of what it is you're looking at, which is why statisticians are so highly sought after. And when anyone tells you about statistics and they don't have a statistics background, probably don't listen, honestly. COVID was ripe for this, right? An example that I've got for you today about my company is that Millie has just run some numbers, literally 30 seconds ago, showing that in the last 2 months, roughly 10% of our calls that have been booked, our sales calls, we are spending 30% of our budget on booking. So to most people, that's like, well, let's scrap the 30% cost for 10%, right? That sounds good. Hear me out. So looking at this data, we were just looking at how many times have we spoken or attempted to call them before they book. And it's like 50% on the first attempt. And it's like 90% in the first 3 attempts, and then like literally 0 on their last 6th attempt. And so from that, most people will go, let's just cull that last attempt. And I agree. But what we will try and do is decrease the time or increase the speed at which we call people when they register their interest. Okay, so imagine you're on your phone right now, you click, oh, I'm interested in this thing. 30 seconds later, you get a call. Well, your phone is still in your hand, so you're going to answer it, right? The better coverage we have throughout the day, the more we spend on setters, the more likely that that scenario is to happen. And so it's going to make these statistics even worse, or rather even better, but give us more reason to reduce our setter budget. Because all of a sudden we're going to say, well, 90% of calls, as an exaggeration, are booked on the first call. And yet we're still calling them 5 more times, and that's covering like half of our total cost of people. So surely we want to save that and just only ever call people once. The difficulty is that was only possible to achieve those results because you had the consistent coverage. So the data we're collecting was essentially showing number of attempts against booking rates. But in reality, I think I don't have perfect data to analyze this, but I know this is very true across industries, is that it's actually time to feedback, and therefore total time spread across the day that you have someone able to do that is worth more than total attempts. Hopefully that hasn't been too confusing. But what I'm saying is here is, as we get better, our results are going to say more and more so that we should decrease our setter coverage when that was the thing that caused the increase in the first place. And so this is why we run tests in business and science. You have a hypothesis of saying, okay, if we then drop our spend on setters by half, we should still retain 90% of our bookings, right? When you run that test, you will very much see that that's not true, unless you are somehow able to maintain the spread across the time, but decrease the number of attempts people make. That might end up with a better test, but you've got to be willing to go back to the thing that worked better and come up with a new hypothesis before testing again. Hopefully that helps. Data can be misleading, don't trust it completely blindly, but we always are making a decision based on incomplete data. If you get a result you're not expecting, that just says your hypothesis was likely wrong. That's okay, go back to what worked better, stay there until you have better data or more data to come to a better hypothesis and a better test. And then if that works, you found your new benchmark. It's all about just pushing that checkpoint further forwards. Whether or not you get the reason right, it actually doesn't matter. And this is where people really push and take things further with marketing. Marketing, honestly, there are some fundamentals that we can extract with hindsight, like posts, but it all comes down to testing. We don't know what's going to land. That's what makes things viral, is a trend will start when something is new that no one has ever found before. And in marketing, you just have to test it for those. You can't plan. It's unlikely to plan them to work. You can increase the likelihood they work, can't guarantee anything. Anyway, that's statistics, business, and science all in one. Have a great day. Peace.